when it does come down to playing something reliable, they're definitely capable of doing that. And maybe this wasn't scouted by Zipto. Maybe this is like a different type of comp to just throw in the mix and maybe confuse the opposition. At the same time, I don't think Zipto are strangers to this type of compositions. You did mention the Clove. They're not gonna have too much range when it comes to gathering info, but they are ready to fight.
I love to hear that. Fight is going to definitely happen here on the pistol round. Yes. We got, the full Mongolian squad over here on attacking, but Zipto, multi-regional roster over here, and they're starting their attack onto C. That's a single person. That's going to be Fixie on the Jet. Unable to hide the recon with the Cloudburst, but will peek anyways. But we got 666 over there from the flank to try and sandwich. It's now 3v2 with a lot of damaged members on the side of Zipto.
Damage is definitely the name of the game for the Mongols here. At least they get the spike down. It is... I wouldn't think this is a huge disadvantage because 2 body shots would be the end for most of the remaining players on the side of Zipto. But it does look like they're positioning themselves for a quick and easy retake.
Shot down.
Beautiful headshot there as Riza get the kill onto Nexi. And there we go. The Mongols is able to take that pistol round win.
Oh, I should have highlighted too that the Mongols are starting on the attacking side. I feel like, Haven, we all know it is quite attacker-sided. Plus, it does help the issues that the Mongols have when it comes to the larger maps. They tend to rotate a little bit too late. Maybe it's a byproduct of them trusting their Sentinel to really be autonomous from the rest of the group and just solo a site. Because we've seen that happen many times. We've seen 119 absolutely demolish people trying to walk into him. Zipto, they want to play around this and maybe, just maybe, make Mongols a little bit more cautious.
That's most likely why they're going to be playing a bit closer off of each other.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they keep this pace up. I mean, if they're not going to juggle like just super high burst and super slow crawls, then I'd wager that they'd go for the latter instead. But they do spot out one player here.
Still going to be Cons already with the dash in, spots out the one with Sky's Boo is already there for the follow-up. This is the first shot, but that's okay. Blinded Sky's Boo will retract. That's going to be a clean round for the Mongols here. It's a simple 2-0.
I don't want my pick'ems to go wrong. Like, I'll be honest, I know it's only the first 2 rounds, but I don't want my pick'ems to go wrong.
Yeah.
Plus, it's attacking side Haven, so I have to, like, make a lot of copium up. It's a fighting comp, they're fighting a lot. Smile.
Smile.
But yeah, going back to the game here. First gun round, just for, the uninitiated, the Mongols are actually one of the deadliest teams when it comes to playing with quote-unquote lesser weapons. Their sheriffs have been terrifying. The Guardians are nothing to scoff at. And Zipto, they might just have to bring a bit more respect to the table, trying to engage this type of team. And maybe Flaring's going to be the first victim, but he does manage to bounce out.
At 30 HP, able to escape at least, but this does not stop the oppression. As now we get to see the 2 players from Zipto constrict a little bit of space here, but there's 2 players looking at lobby. Who's gonna peek first? We'll have to see. Oh, ADS at the ready, but they get information and they back away.
Oh, like I said, this is gonna be so measured. Do they expect the player tucked in the corner here, though? Fixie has some malicious ideas, but Riza gets the find onto Khan, and now it looks like this offense is gonna fall apart.
Burst as well, doesn't really matter. Emin Fear gets a trade at least. They're slowly whittling down the Mongols at the moment. But there is still Flaring, being a human ward and still not budging, but they really have to check every single corner in case the Shrouded Step has repositioned him. Still Paranoia available. Smoke about to arrive, but that's going to be a no as 119 finds him.
Dear me, this is already looking so expensive for Zipto. I mean, getting 2 on your bonus is already acceptable if you're on the ecoing team or on the bonus team. But the way that it happened, there's just no meaningful damage towards the Mongols, and they even got the plant down. I think this is going to be an awkward retake here, or an awkward defense. Nexi proves me wrong. What?
Suga though. 1v1 situation. Now with a peek, MN Fear with a couple of body shots is enough. And there you go. The bonus ain't going to Zipto. It's on towards the Mongols.
That's 3 on the board. Mongols too have such a high conversion rate when it comes to hitting those bonus rounds. Now, I don't want to doubt Zipto. Or I don't want to jinx Zipto either. But one of it is bound to happen, you know? Like, I can't win in this situation. Either my pickups are going to go wrong, or I jinx the team I like. At the same time, Mongols, I love the new discipline that they've been showing these last 3 rounds. Normally, when they do get an advantage, they tend to just walk up a little bit too much. It hasn't been super obvious just yet in these first 3 rounds. I also have to say, MN Fear starting off strong. I believe he has 6 frags to his name, trying to erase his performance on Bind on that Tejo. Hopefully his Sova is a bit sharper, as Zipto have a lot on their hands to deal with.
Even has the Hunter's Fury building up from a lot of the frags throughout the rounds, and thought it was going to be a garage stack, but they decided to back away instead as Sky is blue. 119 instead. Now they're able to get the ult down, spots it all out, but they're going to rotate to C.
That is a lot of emphasis and just a lot of insurance. An ult to win this round out. And again, Mongols so patient. They're not biting on this just yet.
Yeah, 40 seconds on the clock. We have a lot of time. The discipline, the Vixie deals first blood there. Precise aim as Nexi will get a kill himself. And Suka follows up.
Whoa.
And all these sheriff shots have been incredibly deadly. And now it's all up to MN Fear to make this round count, the buy round. But all caught off utility, and Fixie is just too fast for you. And that's a thrifty for Zipto.
I like that Zipto didn't respect the Vandal there a little, like, too much.
Yeah.
They found their window, they found their timing. Obviously, a lot of those shots did come through, and Fixie even has an operator to his name, despite the little streak that they went on those first 3 rounds. Now, Mongols, they're gonna have more than enough to buy up for majority of their squad. 119 is gonna be working with a Vandal that MN Fear recently dropped. Con is actually not having a good start to this game. I don't want to highlight it too much, but if this continues, it could be detrimental for the Mongols.
It makes sense. Fixie and Con, you know, all eyes on them for sure on this matchup, and Fixie now with the operator, able to identify where it was, but still no value just yet.
Yeah, a pick right now would be worth quite a bit. Zipto just trying to stay alive. They don't want to get swung on the way they did in those openers, and Mark L just has not won a single Sentinel to Sentinel encounter. They're even using this Hunter's Fury just to give themselves a little bit of space, Riku.
Yeah, those are good trades. Get a kill, get that bait, that ultimate being baited out, but Fixie repositions here onto long, but it's gonna get smoked out. Will Fixie try to push his luck? We'll decide to respect it instead.
I was hoping he'd walk through the smoke.
Same.
But, you know, maybe that's why we're not pro players, because we would probably do that and lose.
Yep, they would have made a smart decision! Buy one, take one! Fixie even retreats to safety right after. And now 20 seconds on the clock. Pressure is building on the side of Mongols, but they're trying to make it work. Flash still? Riza finishes the kill, but MN Fear is gonna get taken down as well. The spike's gonna go to C, get that plant on the board, but versus 3, it is going to be a tall order.
It is going to be as tall as you, especially with the operator in the hands of Suka. They are going to frontline really well with all the utility they have. They burn that recon dart just to give themselves a little bit of space, and they come out of this round relatively unscathed despite trading out an ult early on, despite losing their Sentinel. And normally, like, if you just look at a stat basis, an ult plus a frag, it just kind of snowballs, you know? But Zipto, again, with Fixie, landing those shots, man. Crazy.
Beautiful stuff, honestly. Fixie just so patient, good read as well. And Riza with a double K outside of Suarez was just so important to just put a lot of pain onto the Mongols, but they're still in the lead. But now they're back on this eco. Just 4 stingers right now being purchased.
Oof. Not a good look for the Mongolian squad here. Does look like they're interested in taking C, but who is that? It's still Fixie.
Indeed, Paranoia. Before it reaches you, still gets a kill. Nonetheless, Skies Blue gets a trade, but is scanned. Riza able to get another kill as well, as Fixie is just flying. But it will be found by MN Fear with a stinger headshot, by the way. Doesn't really matter. Good damage, but still Zipto ties it to even.
I had no doubt that Zipto would tie this, like, in this fashion. I had no doubt. Zero doubt whatsoever. One thing I want to talk about Haven is that it can be, like, super aim-dually as a map, as we just saw. It's somewhat difficult to layer utility in a really oppressive manner here, because sometimes you do end up losing out on just map-wide coverage, or, you know, just kind of end up using one of your players as... What's a nice way to put this? It's the sacrificial lamb somewhere else. So that's why we see a lot of these teams, they tend to be a bit more passive, and it does look like we are going to find the first time out here for the Mongols. And I think it's great that they're popping one of these points early, because it seems that one of their players is currently invisible. I don't think superpowers are allowed. Going back to the game, it's good that they're not letting Zipto get one more round just to solidify this momentum. They need to stop this here and now while they have the resources to do so.
Yeah, that's true. They do have they have an important ultimate, not dead yet, as well, coming from Sky is Blue. If they wanna one up that aggression, but Zipto has been adjusting fairly well after seeing how fast the Mongols has been in a lot of these opening rounds. The scary part is they still gotta bait out the Rolling Thunder on the side of Suka. And so far it has been, just as you said, pretty aim-dually. Doesn't even need it just yet, but maybe they're forced to use it this round.
Zipto has also had like a decently aggressive stats for like the last 3 rounds, and it's been what's working out, right? I mean, Mongols are still trying to find tools, but now Zipto's gotten their one, so they're just gonna chill out.
Definitely having a lot of control over here on Garage. That has been quite the difficulty to penetrate. Dashes towards the corner, but gets tagged nonetheless. That's the yellow health bar into the, well, gray, as Fixie still continues to find more targets. It is quite scary. Every single time you think you're safe, Fixie is just there.
He is like a boogeyman.
Yep.
And it does look like 119 wants to respond in kind and try to even the numbers out, but once again, Mongols was trying to find meaningful space here. They can't necessarily crawl up from long, but as I say that, Mark L gets found yet again.
Oh, able to sneak past Nexi. I don't know if he was spotted. I feel like he was, but just a pixel. And 119, surprise, it's not the Omen, it is me. Now I'm gonna put my ult down. We get a lot of value now. They know that all of them are gonna be coming from CT, as Riza does get one scan, but doesn't expect a close player, as Nexi is already ready. There's the camera for distraction. The high and low into the logs, and it's gonna work out, and the Mongols take this 4-3.
If anything, this matchup has just been telling us on which team is, you know, managing their first 1v1s a bit better and trying to snowball off of that, because if you notice, there's not a lot of snowballing, Rico. Sure, they'll get one pick. Sure, they'll get, like, maybe some space on an opposite side of the map. But it's just been a chess game for both these teams. They're trying to adjust accordingly and not too excited in the way they do it. I mean, like we said, right? Sometimes when players do get frags, they tend to try to run it down, but that's not happening.
Speaking of running it down, Nexi with the punish onto Fixie and Riza. I don't think they see that coming, and now they're rewarded with a one-man advantage.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Again, every time I say something, something else happens. And I guess that's why we like this game so much. But Khan finally getting himself on the board here. The Blade Storm is available if he wants to go for something a bit more close quarters. Zipto, they could go for a save here. Their economy's not looking too sharp.
Not dead yet. Available for Sky is Blue, but there will be no access to nearby kills
gosh.
if ever he activates this. There it is, not dead yet as a distraction. Nexi again with a triple. Skies Blue needs to get that kill over here onto CT. Instead, it gets found out by Markel. The plant's gonna go down, but it's all up to Markel to save this round, unless maybe he's able to make this work. Nope, 4K for Nexi. Beautiful round for the Mongols.
That timeout did wonders.
Yeah, good from Version.
XIP though, they look really stomped. I mean, what's been the adjustment here? Obviously, Mongols have been addressing this aggression. They've been playing a little bit more receded onto the safer side of the map, at least for them. But when they do get, like, maybe a little bit of space from a dash up, you know, from earlier, I think that's probably the most concrete example. They don't let it slip away. Like I said, the chess match continues. It's been a very careful approach for both these teams, and it does look like Zipto have a few choice words for each other here.
Understandable, Zipto has been really adjusting well earlier against the Mongols up until the whole timeout. It's all about adjustment over an adjustment, just forcing each other to sort of evolve within the map, within these rounds. And so far, it has been quite effective for both of the duelists with the operator.
True. There is a little bit of pressure on Zipto now to convert off this pause. I mean, Mongols have been really sharp with their current game plan. Whatever they drew up, they've been executing it perfectly for the last 2 rounds or so. Now, again, we know this map is very attacker-sided, so Zipto already have that inherent disadvantage where they do kind of spread themselves out a little thin. A lot of the trading power isn't going to be there too much. From what we've noticed too is that aside from Rizza getting demolished by the operator, there's not been a lot of breach pressure from Sewer just to keep Mongols away from it. But Mongols also been doing such a great job of avoiding this early utility.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's definitely one of the first instances they've had present at lobby with the operator. It's usually looking at garage, but Nexi again with another kill. But Markel will take advantage of this. We'll get the neural theft on the board and even get a headshot again. 45 HP, 2 bullets in. And the shorty's gonna do the job from Sky is Blue. Able to retrieve the spike and able to retrieve the site.
Yeah, great recovery here by Mongols. It was against an eco round. I think for all intents and purposes, Zipto has had an acceptable round, but wow, they're still really gonna double up on this? I don't know.
I think it's one of those things where the Rolling Thunder has been in the back pocket for quite a few rounds. So it is one of the, I guess, more doable rounds at the time, at this instance. Markel really tried to open up the map for Zipto here.
I don't know, I don't think I agree with that Rolling Thunder call there. I mean, majority of the controls, if not both controllers, were still up for Mongols. And Zipto just did not have the weapons to compete in those angles presented. They had an operator, sure, but an op in a narrow corridor when you're trying to retake, especially as a defender, is really not the easiest thing to make work. Mongols still doing flawless for like majority of the rounds after that pause.
Yeah, definitely that timeout did wonders. And now Fixie's turn again. It's my turn in the operator. But this time we get to see these two duelists. Let's see who will get first blood value off here, because no one has been revealing themselves just yet.
You know, good thing that you brought that up, because it feels like there's a lot of rounds where Zipto get first blood, but they don't necessarily maximize their picks. Like after that, it just kind of falls apart. Then maybe they're wondering, what else can you do against Mongols when the way they've been approaching the map, it's been super patient. But I think MN Fear is gonna go bye-bye here. No. What?
Putting on some dancing shoes, and we've got a far lurk from Sky is Blue. Will they see this coming?
That's a good question to ask. Nobody has any idea of this, Rico. Look at this. They might get shredded to bits on B.
Exactly. That's what's happening on your screens right now. It's Sky is Blue with a big sandwich. Flary and Fixie They want to make this work. They need to push this space, but Nexi is ready by Garage. And the Mongols have a humongous lead at round 10.
Man.
Man is right.
I am sad.
Please, Valorant, you said it yourself. Haven, attacking attacker-sided map.
Yes, that is true. But at the same time, Mongols have been very convincing in the intangibles. I think the way that they've been trading has just been a little bit more diligent in comparison to Zipto. At the same time, there's a lot of avoidable mistakes on the side of Zipto, especially in that last round, right? Where Fixie just kind of tried to go for the Cloudburst into the walk-up. It does look like he wants to rectify those mistakes with the Blade Storm, but Mongols, they have an idea of what's coming.
Jet versus Jet here. Will Khan win this one? I don't think he has an idea just yet. Slowly jiggling alongside Fixie. The tension is building. And now Fixie, just full focus for both of these players. It's like time has stopped. And now we're going over to B. A silence has not been broken just yet. There it is. 119 is gonna fall, and still these two players are not budging. There's already Death Sees the shoulder, and it's Khan. It will win that one versus the Jet duel.
Get out of my way!
It did look like Fixie had an advantage in the earlier rounds here, but the patience by the Mongols again is worth its weight in gold. And now Zipto, they're scrambling for this defense, but Khan once again doing the damage, shredding this effort apart. And now Zipto off the flaring with his Vandal.
We'll see if Paranoia is still available, but then post-plant positions finds the one. Only two left with reposition, but not dead yet activated, so it's still a 3v1. Knocks down the Clove players. Flaring doesn't know where the other player is just yet. Can still keep guessing. Doesn't have a lot of time. Using the smoke to slice this in half. Has a little bit of a doorway to peek through, but spots the one, but next he says, no clutch for you. And Mongols still continue their streak.
Last round before the switch.
I really appreciate the Mongols play style. It is just super calculated. I feel like it can be incredibly opportunistic. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because at the highest level, you need to take every single advantage you can get. And Mongols, when you give them an inch, they'll go for a mile. It's working out. Sure, there are moments where it does get punished, but for the most part, Zipto are... Oh, that was a spray. I forgot it made a sound. But for the most part, Zipto is a little confused.
Yeah, that confused me a little bit too, because the timing was a little bit too perfect. But Fixie is on the top of the boxes, gets the drop, dashes backwards. Khan, I'm just gonna plant the spike right now and try to bait it out. And now it's just pure darkness inside B as they pull out of the site.
Oh. Another masterclass at maybe diverting the attention. Now Zipto are left to guess again. This is supposedly the gun round for Zipto, but what can they really do with Mongols just denying so much info?
Denying so much space as well. Markel gets a little bit of a teaser of what's going on. But Khan, can't believe he was able to make it out after all of that. Oh,
I was about to say too, it's imperative for Zipto to win this map because Abyss is very leaning towards the Mongols here. But Markel gets two.
Gets two before it gets taken down, but Sky's blue and Khan immediately traded off. And looks like C is going to be the selection here for their site control. It is going to be a long plant for them as Fixie enters garage. Spots out one from the scan. Has an idea. Make that two. And now they don't anticipate. It's 119! Thought the transfer is going to be there, but Riza shuts him down. And the streak is over as Zipto gets another score on the board.
I want to say this is acceptable.
Yeah.
But getting a fourth round on defense, I think there's so many worse things that could have happened. But before we nerd out, we are going to go into a small break. So all you fine ladies and gents.
And we're back, everybody, over here after the halftime break. We're still in the middle of our first series of the day. Map number 1, the Mongols versus Zipto Esports. And it is now the pistol round. The swap has happened. Khan has spotted a lot of members from the a lot of members from Zipto. It's gonna back away.
Really smart stuff at Sky's Blue. We have a find here or two, but Suka finds him too.
Spike down A.
Good trade. Inside of the Mongols here, even peeking through the smoke as Flaring finds a kill onto Fear. Fixie enters the site. 119 constantly being a threat, but it doesn't matter because Fixie will do the job. Now it's a 2v1 situation. Will Nexi push through this? Nope, going to heaven. But will Fixie follow through?
He has a smoke in hand. He could definitely find the 1v1 here. Silent drop? Oh.
They heard it. That's why they're looking at. They're gonna peek together!
Oh!
I thought that was gonna be a transfer again, but Flaring will finish the job and Zipto takes the pistol round.
They find an extra lifeline here in the pistol round. And they have the chance to actually make this a 2-round swing, Rico. They have to be careful though. Once again, Mongols so good with everything, including the assault rifles and the Guardian. Like I said, the eco weapons are just super sharp. The sheriffs also have to be taken into account. We've seen them piece up teams with it, especially when they're caught unawares. I feel like Fixie's really doing such a good job of keeping this competitive for Zipto.
Just incredibly consistent. Even the first few rounds, even though, Zipto wasn't winning just yet. Flaring thought could be first contact, but the Mongols back away into garage.
Oh. Basically could have found another one there, but now Mongols think they might just shift their weight and their players towards C, but they don't budge. Again, another Mongols trademark. They just don't want to rotate up until they get that hard confirmed. Maybe this could bite them in the back one more time as Zipto walk in.
Now they have an idea. So Markel releases the shot. Suka, though, gonna get that plant behind or next to platform is Nexi. Beautiful shot onto Markel here. Again, you talked about this Wrath. They're pretty scary on these eco weapons, and you can't count them out just yet.
Just don't, sometimes you have to treat these Mongol eco rounds as a full-on buy round, especially when 119 gets a fine like that.
That was nasty as Fixie, though, has a beautiful angle over here onto CT. A lot of these body shots, and Fear gets a trade, but with 12 HP, it's going to be a very difficult round, but it is still quite expensive for Zipto.
It's really expensive. That just means they're not going to have a full-on arsenal for this round if they want to keep stability with their economy. And I think that's another thing that Mongols have been doing such a great job of. They're not allowing Zipto to center themselves in terms of just having a good buy. I mean, there was a round in the previous half where it was like an operator plus 4 sheriffs and then another broken buy. I wouldn't say Zipto's doing too bad either of trying to keep up, but they have to stabilize. They have to build their economy and maybe play with their back, because Mongols, what they've been doing is just winning their ones and being patient.
Cover going up.
That's the scary part, especially 2-round gap until they reach the double digits, but Flaring is already in. It's tagged by the recon, but they're doing the similar thing what we saw at Mongols. They pull away from B and they just respect that and bait a couple of these utilities.
That they do. And now Zipto still left in the dark here. They're getting pushed out of the better half of the map. They still haven't found a choke point to really pressure from. They haven't found any lurk threats whatsoever. And with the way the Mongols utility is situated, this is going to be another 10, maybe 20 seconds of Zipto just kind of waiting around unless they try to brute force a site. Granted, Fear has been so dangerous. Don't think this is a good idea, but as long as they keep that numbers advantage going, then A could be the play.
Ooh, the timing of the recon dart as well. Spots out everybody. Information, but the bodies are dropping on the floor as Khan already activates the dash. I'm out of here as I find the one climbing onto heaven. Spike's now been planted, but it's a 3v3. Incredibly doable for both teams.
Gotta remember, Flaring only has, picked up a Vandal at this point in time, so it is gonna be even Steven. Mongols again have a hard task ahead of them. Do they go for this, though?
That's a question indeed, as 119 already setting up the flank. Do they have an idea? They have one person, Suka, looking at long. They have eyes left their station, as now 119 has an angle. Now one is gone. And now all they have to do is check all these corners. 119, 1v1, taps on the spike. But Markel saves that round. And it's now a one round gap between the two teams.
Zipto slowly climbing back up from that deficit of the first half. And I have to say, both these teams are really on point. I don't think we've seen any egregious like whiffs or anything of that nature so far. And it's been coming down to just master their own macro here. The less that Zipto like try to force their way onto places they shouldn't be in, the more comfortable they are holding it down. And Mongols, they have to just expend so much to pressure Zipto now.
Exactly. Ooh. Oh, it's like I saw a ghost, and then with my peripheral vision, and then when I looked, it's gone. Sky's Blue, though, has a plan in mind, playing with the smoke aggressively. Riza, spider senses are tingling. Smoke about to expire. You're kind of stuck between this corner, and now that's two immediately gone for the side of the Mongols. That's the green light now onto sight, but Nexi has other plans. Make that two. That's a trade, and now Flaring shuts him down eventually.
Once again, Mongols showing their teeth and showing why it's a bit of a double-edged sword. I mean, sure, they got the 2 kills there, but they could have gotten more if they sync their trades up a bit better. I feel like that's something they'll have to address in a pause. I wouldn't be surprised if a timeout would come, like maybe in the next 2 rounds or so. If they lose this gun round, most definitely it's going to be a timeout. Zipto, though, they are sitting comfy. They're sitting pretty with their ult economy being very close to 100%. Mark L is only 2 orbs away from the near L theft, as well as Riza, who's been a spark plug for this team too. If Fixie's not getting the kills, Riza is.
Exactly. If you don't count the last round of the first half, it's like a 9-round win streak already for Zipto. It feels like momentum has not been broken at all. Now they are unstoppable. They're entering V as we speak. But the Hunter's Fury now activated to prevent the spike from happening, or plant from happening. Rather, Sky's Blue takes 1 man down, and now they back away again.
Take flight.
It's just been this constant like push and pull of attention for the Mongols. Zipto trying to play that game. Now they are down 1, and it's one of their heaviest hitters too in the form of Fixie. Now Suka gone.
Oh, Mongols slowly stabilizing, but you can't count them out just yet. There we go, Flaring. Able to hide in the corner. Now they are hunting for the last player. And there you go, the Mongols break the streak. And they want some of their own.
Was that the spray again? It was a spray, right?
It's a very cute spray.
I don't think I have that one.
I don't think I have that one either.
I know what cats sound like, Rico, okay? Like,
that's true, you're right. I just wanted a meow, you know, like I heard it. I just have to.
You had to, obviously, right?
Yeah, obviously.
The world would stop if you wouldn't.
I don't know what to say about that, but look at the Mongols here. They have the operator this time. I think this is the first time we're seeing this on the defensive side for Khan, but they're attacking the opposite side here on C.
That's right. How are they going to assess this? Well, first and foremost, if you give 1s to the Mongols, if you give them 1v1s, most likely they're going to win. Zipto, they have to understand that they have to play with numbers. They have to try to go for just one oppressive push. Rolling Thunder in the back pocket of Suka. He's looking to use it, but how are they going to follow up with this?
Maybe the Barrage players, they push down window, and that's going to be Riza again. But they're not greedy. They want to back away, and they're happy with the lives that they took.
Well, it certainly found its value, and now Mongols again getting pushed back. They like to play safe, so they'll burn extra time just so it's going to be a clean fight. But Zipto, they have other plans.
The hesitation. Khan wanted to peek through the other side. No time. Suka with a trade peeks alongside. And now it is Zipto again, full control.
I like the discipline on Mongol side though. Like, you know, they lost a player, so they're like, okay, let's regroup a little bit. I do think it does burn a few extra seconds And sometimes
Last player standing.
there is a lot of value in throwing the occasional, like, you know, off time solo push and whatnot. Like they have to be open to all the options here. And like I said, if the momentum slips away from their hands, they will just have to call a timeout. And it does look like they're still putting their thinking caps on.
Understandable. Mongols, they had a hard time breaking the streak that Zipto built up from the first half on towards the second. Feels like it's a... Wait a minute. I know my figurative speech. Tough cookie to crack? I'm pretty sure that's wrong. Tough.
I think you're...
You think
correct.
I feel like it sounds wrong, but basically it's just this entire big puzzle. Zipto, you feel like you had them figured out, but then they really pull a fast one on you, and they have a robust, you know, post-plant position that's just so hard to retake against them.
I'm glad that, like, despite everything, despite the slow start for Zipto too, they never really positioned themselves in a way where they're backing down from the fights. If anything, like this has just been wrapping up as the game progresses, and it's been leveraging on that first pick again. I wouldn't be surprised if they'd have more first picks at the end of this matchup, but Nexi whiffing.
Quite unfortunate here, just quite the overwhelming force that Fixie and Suka are just really showing here onto Haven. Now the spike's planted, usually that enables the victory as Markel playing very far back here onto spawn. Do they check? They had an inkling, but still the doubt of having to pull away right after.
Oh boy. The depth of the playbook of Mongols have also been, like, in question for, I think, the last, like, 2 weeks now. Everybody's been kind of thinking, sure, they, like, at a mechanical basis, they're very good. They trade really well. And that's already such a great start point for a lot of teams. It's just, when are they going to diversify their play? When are they going to add more layers? When are they going to just, in general, have more strats?
They're definitely a head scratcher here. It feels like they've been, you know, assembling, disassembling a lot of the parts on defense that they wanted to do, see what works. And I mean, understandable. You want... Nexi has been... We talk about this player a lot. Win or lose for the Mongols. He always seems to be at the top of the standings constantly.
Oh, for sure.
But so far, he has been being shut down quite early.
Yeah, it's not really in a position where he can, like, play make as much as he would want.
True.
He's in a role where he is more akin to a closer than anything else, because you still want your frontliners to do a lot of the attention pulling and whatnot. But 119 could have a shot here.
Oh, beautiful
Maybe
scan, and 119 takes advantage. Markel, though, immediately takes two, just diminishing that trade. Now it's just complete chaos now onto the site. 119 drops down.
No way.
What a sheriff shot by 119. Crazy stuff. Now we're back to even.
No way. As the Mongols hit him with a signature eco snatch. And Zipto are a little dumbfounded from what happened there. I mean, once again, we talk about the value of these, like, more aggressive plays. I'd say even brazen plays where you kind of have to go against the grain sometimes just to ruin the timing of Zipto. Because if you're, like, looking at how Zipto was anticipating those fights, they were looking at, like, the usual, you know. Oh, hey, they're gonna swing from CT now. Oh, hey, maybe there's gonna be presses from hell. But they would never expect that Cypher player to jump at that very moment, right?
Yep, not at all. Having a good angle from Heaven as well with the scan by M and Fear, just really... The tag team of utility just did a lot of work. And now Zipto back at it again over here onto A. Maybe an attempt. There is a Cypher trap, though, and a camera. So this could be a bit of a challenging task, but never mind. It is them full control, and they will plant the spike.
Mongols will come from just one side, and does look like they want to repeat the success they found in that previous round. This time, Rizza already checking Heaven to see if there's any shenanigans that could potentially happen. It does look like Zipto are just willing to stay on the side here. Good thing for them, there's no Rolling Thunder for Suka, but in a few more kills, it could potentially come to fruition.
We'll see, though. Paranoia forces Markel out of position. Riza over at Graffiti still. But numbers are dwindling on the side of Zipto. Things are falling apart. 119 and Khan finishing the job. And A feels so fortified on the side of the Mongols.
You know, we did say, like, the last few weeks have been so hard to call, and it doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon.
Yeah.
He seems to really, like, come out to play and put their best foot forward. Mongols and Zipto, no strangers to that. Zipto, though, they are looking like they're going to be the first ones to slip into... Actually, no, that's not the case at all. Everybody still has a really good bag to build on, and I believe this is the last time out for Zipto. Again, I'm really glad that they're pulling this out before it can go to Ori. You don't want to call the pause when you're about to hit overtime or if you're just about to play for overtime. You have to address these situations as early as possible. And again, this matchup has been intent. Like, there's a lot of like clear intention being put forward by both these teams. They've been executing off of it. But I can't help but feel this is gonna go beyond regulation.
That's very true. Arf, arf. Sorry, I had to do it. But yeah, the Mongols...
She heard the meow. By the way, guys, that's my new dog. Her name is Julia. She's a husky.
Oh, Julia. That's a cute name. Husky. I love huskies. Very expressive creatures. That's great. That's great. A response. But I now, after this timeout, you know, going back a little bit here, I wonder what Zipto's adjustments are going to be. You see, you know, Suka having 2 off of the Rolling Thunder. Feels like it might be key to hold a lot of these post-line positions. But I'm a bit worried. Mongols stacked over at B, so I wonder if they're going to be doing an aggressive push here.
I want to highlight that Khan's not doing too hot here. I mean, normally he's on top of the leaderboard when he's playing that ISO or sometimes even the breach, and it's put me in a position where I feel like he's not super great with roles that need him to gap close with like speed. The way that he plays the game is that he's a turret. If anything runs into him, he'll probably win the 1v1s. But now it does look like we have a stray Mark L in the back lines here. I doubt that Mongols anticipate this deep of alert, or rather this late of a timing towards mid, because look at where Skies Blue is looking. Sure, he's holding grass at the moment, but he has to be cautious of the players towards sewer.
Skies Blue, though.
Never mind. Mark is dead. My bad.
Being found by the operator player Khan. Really patient. You talked about the discipline of the Mongols, not budging until they have a hard confirm. And Skies Blue able to sneak his way over here. Suka had an inkling, but will leave his post. As soon as this flash goes off, Skies Blue is going to peek, and that's exactly what happens. Now is going to exit. Khan will miss the first shot. Going to play close with the shorty inside the smoke. Fixie, though, able to punish that through, and now it's a 3v3.
I see the vision.
I see the vision, too. Yep, agree. Oh, lots of smoke. They're going to just go retake here. It's a scrappy fight. Not dead yet. Skies Blue still has a chance to try clutch this out, but Fixie shuts that plan down. 11-11.
Very sound game for both these teams.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's... If this was chess, I don't think there were any like major errors or fumbles for the most part. Maybe like I could count it in like one hand. But if we really are like going with textbook Valorant, everybody's been trading as well as they can. Everybody's been decently proactive with the way they've been playing. I like the idea of Mongols there to just get Skies Blue to post up far forward and maybe try to cut off that like safety of the spawn area. Because if Zipto have control over that for the rest of the game, then they're just gonna have free reign on where to go. Mongols again, they change their defensive approach here. This time it's Skies Blue. Just inserted so far back towards B now.
Complete contrast on what we saw earlier, being pushed up underneath window. It didn't work out so well during these past few rounds, so they might try to make another attempt. Oop!
Oh.
First blood. Riza. Beautiful shot.
I like how every time we just kind of like let the silence like build up. somebody just gets fragged, and that's exactly what's happening right now.
Yeah, I think most of the time, right, we get to see this Rolling Thunder now being initiated, sending everybody back onto CT. But this will give them space to plant and control, but there's still sprawling members of the Mongols nearby already. They're gonna enter. The fray is flaring, being aggressive inside the smoke. He's 5 HP, and it's a little worth as it's a 1-for-1. Asuka gets a trade as well. Now it's a 2 versus 1. Markel has done clutches before, and it's another possibility. Having to get what the first peak we talked about trades. Smoke about to expire already. He is surrounded. They're gonna try to peek together. A high and low, traversing high and low, but it is not gonna be punished as Nexi finishes that round, and the Mongols are the first ones to enter match point.
Man, what a great play by the Mongols there to just, again, immediately swing. I thought for sure, too, like, if there was no X-ray, then you would anticipate the swing just because there's just so much time. But those are the timing gambos that you have to make in those situations when information is quite limited. And if you notice Riku, too, it's either like these... Every time the meow happens, by the way, I expect you to do it. Like, is she gonna do it again? Again, going back to
I think I only have like the one, time thing.
You did it like 3 times in a row. Okay,
I did? Okay.
Yeah, but it's fine. Anyway, going back to the analysis, it just feels like it's a super burst-heavy approach for both these teams. Simply because if they go for those, like, I guess, segmented attacks, Mongols have a leg up. And Mongols, they definitely have a chance to close this out here.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Zipto might get sandwiched here. We get to see 2 players already going over to window. Mark L, of course, able to spot this one out. Repositions. Worried about the lobby players pushing. The Flaring's going to join alongside. Do they expect this? That's going to be a no as Flaring wins this one out. But in kind, that's going to be 116. NM and Fear tag teaming. Now, time is ticking. Paranoia is going to enter. And now they're completely surrounded. 119 spots out Markel with a Colat. Riza with another trade. They're trying to tap the spike. Riza pushing forward. And now it's a 1v1 situation as Nexi is going to push through the boxes. Flaring trying to hide, trying to confuse. Do they have the time is the question here. It's not even half. And it's going to be cutting it close.
Nah, he doesn't
I don't think there's time. And that is overtime, baby.
First map of the day of the first series. Of course, we are gonna go into overtime, and I have to remind everybody, Mongols just get more dangerous as these games progress. And another thing we did say in the pre-show is that it is imperative for Zipto to win this out if they want to keep the series competitive, because Abyss has just been a sheer, a fortress for the Mongols.
Oh yeah, they've gotten a lot of, I wouldn't say practice, but, tournament experience an Abyss last year. I felt like it was one of the maps that they constantly are able to fight on. But here we go, overtime. The Mongols over here on attacking, Zipto back on defense. I wonder what could it be, because it's quite aggressive here for Zipto.
If anything, Zipto have stopped just like strong arming like one point of the map. It feels like, yes, they're willing to retake, but it doesn't feel like they're doubling down on it because there's still a lot of like early fights. And once again, Mongols have just been so good at these ones. And Zipto have just not been benefiting from these early fronts. So if they want to retake, then maybe they should be a bit more passive. Mongols, though, full control of the site, uncontested plant. No surprise here.
30 HP already for the side of Riza, who has been constantly dealing a lot of mid-round multi-frags. At least able to use utility for everything goes down. Recon coming in. That could be the signal. 119 being so sneaky, but triggers the sound cue as Markel and Riza tag teaming. And they're just pretty much sandwiched here. Mongols, rather. And the trades are coming in. Markel coming from the flank. Even tapping the spike in a 1v1 situation. And the reads are there as a Markel clutches. Takes the first round here on overtime.
Redemption for that previous clutch. Mark L pushes his team to the advantage. Now Mongols on the verge of potentially losing this map. Zipto looking to do a little bit of work here. Again, sure, they had a slow start to the first half, but now everything's been ramping up slowly for them. Like I said, this is a team that has a lot of heart. You gotta put them down as quickly as possible too.
And they're completely dangerous, as we've seen the first half of this map. But this time around, Zipto, they've been quite scary on the attacking side. But this time, two members quite focused on to see Long. Nexi not leaving his post at all. That's quite dangerous, as he's spotted by the dart, or sorry, the drone. And now able to at least get that trade-off before retreating. No, still on backside. Unable to remove that pesky recon dart as Riza takes down 119. And yet there's another trade happening. 2v3 with Zipto with the advantage. They're gonna... The calm before the storm, they're gonna settle down just for a few seconds. They need to buy their time.
Maybe Zipto won their map here. If I remember from this map alone, Mongols have not won a clutch from this situation, but maybe Sky is Blue will paint the town red.
We'll see. Suka might be another high and low over here onto logs as they peek together. But there we go, Zipto. They've never gotten that clutch, and you are correct, Zipto. 1-0 over here in this series.
Yeah, I was thinking like, the 3 times there was a clutch or retake initiated from C-Link. It just didn't work out, or from CT for Mongols specifically. But again, great showing for both these teams. I think Zipto are hanging on by a thread here. Like I said, it was really dangerous for some of those moments here. I'm glad that everybody was contributing in spades. I think Fixie really had a game here to keep that like first half much more manageable, because if he didn't get those first picks, and maybe the scoreline could have been a bit more lopsided. Con did come alive a little later in the round too, but for the Mongols, I think the players to highlight are obviously 119 and Nexi. Had such a great game, but again, not really in a position to open. Ooh.
Yeah, it's honestly just so much to sort of, you know, break down, because it felt like every single round was just really building up and culminating to the last few rounds that we saw. It's just really, really crazy stuff here.
Yeah. Like I said, Mark did such a great job of keeping it together too, because again, he did have a few slow rounds at the beginning. It didn't really deter him from, you know, popping off and making the right decisions. And I talk about this a lot on the ISO. I feel like they were a little bit more powerful than they are right now. It's not that they're doing bad with these comps. It's just for the first time in a good while, it's been competitive maps after competitive maps for them. Which is a far cry from their debut. I'll be honest with you. When they were playing in their first few matches, it was dominance, and now it seems everybody has figured out how the Mongols play, and that plays a huge factor in it too. Abyss, like you said, there's a lot of tournament experience. They've been pretty dominant on this in general, if you look at the whole body of work, but they weren't necessarily running a conventional lineup like this to get that success. I wonder how much this changes it, though.
We'll just see here, a bit of a dash already. Breaking onto Library as Riza has been quite phenomenal the earlier rounds at Haven. As Fixie now dashing through, unable to find Nexi as he has already retreated. And now it's Khan, able to take down Suka already. And just a tap on the spike to bait out some movement, bait out utility over here as the smoke expires. That's the green light, basically. And the Mongols cleaning up slate. Marco's the only one left against all the 5 members of the Mongols. And there you go, swift and proper. Mongols wins the pistol.
No two ways about it. Everybody just kind of getting shredded before they could have a fighting chance here. And Mongols also statistically one of the best pistol teams, not just on an eco but also on those pistol rounds. Zipto, I wonder how well prepared they are for this map, because like I said, sure, they most likely counter-stratted against Mongols, but theory and practice, or practical application, can be 2 wildly different things.
That's true. You've got a plan in mind. Are you able to execute it properly? That's indeed the question. Now hovering over onto A, it seems. If the first time doesn't work, maybe the second will. Smoke about it dissipate. Will it get re-smoked, I wonder? Knife has been destroyed, but still a lot of quietness over here in the opening few seconds.
Yeah, I tend to agree with these like reruns of strats, especially on ecos. Mainly because you don't want to show like the rest of your playbook on throwaway rounds like this. They could find one here though, but Sky is Blue initiating the fight.
Beautiful stuff. Enough. Flaring trying his best to get trades here and there, but it's just heavily fortified on the anti-eco, and Markel is trying to see if there's some sort of way to get either the plant or maybe another kill.
If Mark gets a 1v5, I'm cutting my hair short tomorrow. I doubt that it's gonna happen though. That's why I made that bet. I'm not a gambling man, guys. I don't. Oh, Mark. But anyway, like I said, I am a big fan of just using these quote-unquote throwaway rounds for denial of info. But I do think with them finding Mark that way, Mongols now have an idea how they want to place their lurk threats, how they want to go about the control towards mid.
30 seconds left.
Earlier on, though, we did see a really aggressive play by Con, compounded by the flash of Sky is Blue. And maybe Zipto's going to have that in the back of their minds, although I doubt that they would want to openly contest that. There's a lot of layering towards mid here. There are the Astra Stars. There is a little bit of Cypher utility just to back up that deeper end of things. Mongols sitting pretty. As well as Zipto trying to crawl up.
And slowly but surely again on towards the middle seems to be key here, especially it's their buy round. They've got longer range to contest. We'll have to see as just a bit of a turn-based battle of utilities so far.
Yeah, we talked a lot and maybe put even more value towards that utility shuffle. Some teams do tend to be a bit more impatient with theirs. And in this case, Mongols still have a clear advantage of what they have on the board just yet. They haven't scouted out what type of utility and how their defending B is going to be like. But now they look like they're rerouting towards A. Again with the same action from Haven. They're just being really careful about it, Riku.
It's gonna be another A execute, exactly. First, second, third time's the charm for sure. Nexi has an angle here, spots out the head as it just retreats back as flaring.
Here.
Just not allowing Nexi to escape at all. Spike's been planted. It is 119 with a very cheeky flank. Will the timing be in his favor? No! Missed out just a few seconds. Pixie, though, just being so robust in this positioning is Em in fear. Up close and personal. Suka has an angle, though. And with this peek, as Con gets the jiggle and still with the backstab. And now things are falling apart on the side of Zipto here. It is quite the weapons on their hands, and the dash with the distract. The yellow health bars are popping in. It doesn't matter. They have the time. And it's another 3-0 start, just like in Haven for the Mongols.
Seems like Zipto do need some time to figure out how the Mongols are going to approach the map. Although this time it's Zipto on the attacking, I'd wager this is the stronger side. Simply because the rotations on this map are just hell to deal with at times, especially if you really want to focus on controlling towards mid and maybe putting a bit more emphasis on staying alive, then the safer routes are the slowest. At the same time, Mongols, maybe they've patched up some of those weaknesses that we were listing in the pre-show, at least for this map.
Exactly, and Fixie being quite the sneaky one over here as Con immediately trades, unable to get away from there as Em in fears, being very patient in case somebody drops, and surprise it is Riza. Might get a double here as Markel trying to play off the timing, but Em in fear is just so ready with that peek, and now it's a 3v2 situation here with the Mongols at the lead. The flash is going to pay off, but the two players are going to be playing off of each other. Suka's the only one left with just a sheriff. I have to cross that bridge once they get there. 30 HP, gonna get smoked out, and Con will throw the molly, but it is enough for the Mongols to start things off with a 4-0 at that.
We defend this reality.
I was worrying for Zipto. At some point, one of these teams are going to flinch from all this patient play. Again, everybody's just scouting their side of the map as well as they can, trying to gather that safe space for them to maybe think and breathe. Sooner or later, one player is gonna find themselves in the danger zone, just like the sign. One of them could initiate maybe like a brawl player, or just signal that, okay, it's about to get aggressive. The raids might just have to come a bit quicker. And Zipto still have not found their way onto this map. They're in danger of resetting into yet another like weaker buy if they lose this round. But it does look like all the eggs in the Zipto basket are being thrown towards the defenders.
All the utility as well as 119 is gonna fall. Suga's other plans here. Oh, it's a fully stacked. So quite unfortunate. With the smoke expiring, so is his life. And the Mongols immediately just takes everybody down. Even the Cosmic Divide being utilized over here as Khan with a shoddy backstab. And now things are falling apart on the side of Zipto. 5-0, Raph. 5-0.
5-0. Oh no, for Zipto. Oh.
Oh.
Just let them try.
Okay, I thought he did it a bit too early, but again, refocusing on the game. At the moment, Zipto just feel like they're running into a bit of a brick wall. I don't think they're trying to dice up the map and abusing those long rotations that we've talked about. You know, if they could pressure a site maybe to, you know, sending players over from the opposite side of the map, then maybe they could cut off the rotation. Maybe they could throw a wrench in that plan. But so far, these types of plays have just not really shown themselves, nor the opportunity, perhaps. If anything, we saw Mongols like nearly miss one with, I believe it was 119 flanking towards Library, as you mentioned, but still managing to finish it off. Now, it does look like Coach Mark has a few choice words yet again for his squad.
Yeah, I think it's I think that's one of the things that's really impressive about the Mongols is that, yes, even though they missed that timing for just a moment, it doesn't really, you know, it doesn't, they don't get overexcited to sort of force a timing in their hands. They're still, okay, I missed this first timing, I can just sort of follow this through, and if an opportunity comes, then I take it. And I feel like it's so related to what you said earlier on how they really drag you out, air quote, if that's, you know, one way to put it.
If this was like an RPG game,
I'm listening.
Mongols would like have the highest like maybe myth or just armor.
Ooh.
They're just gonna face tank you, and it's just gonna be a staring contest sometimes. Because if they have to find their way like and find the gaps of proverbial armor, maybe this is it.
Perhaps being incredibly aggro there, Fixie going right in with a different angle as Thunder's Fury even utilized, only tagging Fixie for just half. But this is now them full control. Let's see what the post plant looks like.
It's looking pretty decent for Mongols to retake here. Khan does get out scot-free. Zipto just have to be patient here. They have a impressive setup, but now Fixie gets unsupported, gets divided by that molly. Mongols have presented themselves an opening.
Here we go, flying across the sky. Khan now dropping down. Knives to the head. Process of elimination, trying to clear every single corner. Going out of the smoke.
Ew.
What is that shot? Followed by the right click. Khan. Wow, just wow.
Oh man, and that's because of one molly from Sky is Blue. Again, the first crossfire being dissected. Fixie having no dash available, just had to stand his ground and hope that he would have landed that shot. But with that, everything just got displaced. Khan being absolutely surgical with his knives, with scalpel-like precision. Yes, sir. 3 + 1 is 4. Thank you very much.
So true.
And with more numbers, you add 2 to that, it's 6. Zipto still have not answered back.
Quite scary to think about now that Khan has the operator in his hands, even pushing through aggressively here, and gets rewarded at that. Markel is gone.
Again, the spears of the Mongols are going right through the Zipto offense. Mongols so good when it comes to dictating the pace of the round. They will spot out Sky's Blue, but I doubt that he's going to have any problems trying to front this. Long rotations, like I mentioned, could be a problem here, and Fixie is going to compound that even more.
Oh, despite trying to knock down the door, still able to get that transfer on board. Khan, though, the surprise shorty to the face. Khan still... We talked about the surgically removing the entire member of the rest, but Suka shuts him down before he's able to do that. In a blink of an eye, only 119 is the only one left here. Maybe his other plans. He has information. Only the last 2, quite the doable round. But with 2 members that can potentially high-low, it's gonna be a bit difficult.
Oh,
Having the smoke, throw it the side. The ball is gonna come in, and he's gonna stick through it and get the defuse. It's still 7-0.
Oh no! The cell flash by Suka lost them that round.
Oh.
I kind of want to like set professionalism aside just a moment here. If that were to happen, I think I'm throwing hands. But we gotta keep cool. We gotta keep calm. Oh my goodness! 119, you absolute diabolic human being to stick that in the face of Zipto. And Zipto, hopefully they're not demoralized at this moment. These are the types of things that shouldn't happen, Rico.
Yeah, true. It felt like they had it in the bag. But still. Anyway, they're going in fast again. Well, but still, the scan onto 119. Hopefully they're not a bit rattled after that round with the Cosmic Divide now being utilized. Khan able to see a single thing. Spots out one. Backs against the wall. Fixie, though, gonna go right in, traverse through the wall, and even getting a second, make that a third. And the raid is still not over. It's still a 2v2 situation. Mongols could still send this 8-0. We'll have to see. Suka with a diabolical peek. And I don't think they see this coming. Nexi falls. And there we go. Zipto breaks the Mongols' streak.
Ooh. A timely recovery there by Zipto, because that could have pushed them to the point of no return if that round was to fall apart. But again, this is a team, like I mentioned, has a lot of heart and potentially... Is the word constitution correct? Yes. If we're really gonna get into the nitty-gritty of things. Now Zipto, as you mentioned in the previous map, this is a challenge ahead of the recruit. That is 6 rounds to make up. They have to do it quickly before Mongols can readjust themselves.
See,
how
fast
dare you
execute again. Fast execute once more from the side of Zipto! What a bonus there on Fixie. As being like a watchtower on top of the platform. Fixie drops right in. Smoke, unable to see a single thing. They know where the operator player is at least. Scan to reposition right after. And it's just pouring all the utility into this funnel. Look at this though, 119 is gonna get spotted by Suka again. And they're still being so unmoving, unshaken by this position. And Suka is on a roll here, but they all line up for M and Fear.
Oh my goodness.
Now here we go, 5 bullets. Not a lot of time in the world. Now they're going from opposite directions. They can peek through together. But there is no time, and Riza shuts that down, and Zipto get 2 apiece. Make that a 3. Well, 2. My bad. I'm bad at math.
It's okay. There was a lot going on here, and Zipto are finally picking it up. The Mongols, despite having everything go their way for a majority of those rounds, they will go for the pause here. They want to... Actually, I think this is a Zipto pause. They are still going. How dare you PM me that again? I know what I said. That is not what I said. She's sending me... Like, she sent me...
Hey, I
dancing, I forget his name. From,
no, I am the... It's well, going back to the timeout.
Yeah, the timeout.
This is quite the head scratcher. Because 7-0 for a start after 2 to 3 buy rounds is definitely quite the puzzling situation. So it is a good sign that Zipto is able to break through that and are able to get the 2v2s down. It does feel like a lot of these rounds boil down to clutches. And I feel like Zipto just, I suppose they just need to stabilize.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these fights that Mongols are winning is made by, well, obviously, it's gonna be from the utility, right? Because they're so good at decentering Zipto and making all these like positioning super awkward. I think the best example is still that retake when they isolated Pixie. Because I think Pixie's a real problem. He will just outright win you rounds. And flaring does the same, so reliable. Doesn't look like Suka's coming alive.
3 kills. My ult's ready.
A little monster start to this round, and it is the buy round for both. Mongols not off to a good start here. Round 10. And Suka is unstoppable right now. Hungry for the ace even. Might not even need it. They have full control. You can take this 3 to 7.
I wouldn't be surprised if you go into overtime. Like, Zipto feel like they've had their I understand at that moment. They're recovering as well as they can. They are getting a few, streaky kills here and there, courtesy of Suka. 119 has a lot to say though, and
me a corpse.
it is currently being very, very loud. Wait again, 1v2.
The time. He won earlier, but I don't think he can afford the same scenario as he did earlier. And Zipto makes sure that it doesn't happen again. And there we go, 3 to 7.
Are we gonna go for another 4 to 8? Although, like I said, I think the stronger side on this is definitely the attacking side. It's a little suspect that the defense is holding up this well. But again, we're cycling back to our points. Mongols is a very practiced team on this, like without a doubt. They've won a lot of their matches here. They've made their bones. Zipto, not sure if I can say the same thing. Suka though, despite that team flash earlier, has really turned the dial all the way to 11. Con tries to dodge that flash, but instead just gives himself away. Ooh, a little bit of awkward dash timing there. I don't know what blocked him.
That's true. Could be an interaction, but just a couple of trades here for utility. A lot of warning shots. Con going back to a mid position, but does seem like B is the plan here for Zipto.
At least they have a plan now. I mean, it did feel like it took a while for them to actually materialize anything of intent. For a while, it felt like, okay, let's just try to find a stray pick and maybe flood from there. But again, Mongols, knowing the way they like to defend, it's all very calculated and very, very intentional.
Yeah, a lot of the clutches happened right here onto B. They're gonna be retaking as 5, but they don't have a lot of weapons in their back pocket. Just a couple of sheriffs, but you can't count them out just yet. Con aggressively entering the site. It's a full man defense by window, but there's one far long flank coming from Riza. Maybe they see this coming, maybe they don't. Now they're corralled into one single space. There's a lot of shots being fired, but no deaths on the screen.
Ooh.
And now here comes Death himself, Riza. Now they're confused. Where do we look? Where do we stay? Because the sandwich is coming, and that's a 4K for Riza.
Last round in
A little bit of a picnic there for Zipto. Definitely filled up from those exchanges, and the same note that I talked about for Mongols. Zipto are doing it now. The way that they're making a lot of these fights super super awkward. Let's go.
A lot of hype, for sure. I mean,
Hey,
this is a great comeback. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a great comeback. Mongols, on the other hand. Yeah.
Oh, well, the thing too, the Mongols just have not had a chance to use their ultimates in like the last 3 rounds. It's just been happening so quickly that
Take flight.
it's been sitting there for like 0 value. Yes, there may be the perceived threat of the burst, of the retake using those pieces of utility, but we just haven't seen it happen yet. Zipto now going for a speedy approach. They're hoping for the Mongols to bite on this bait, but it looks like Mongols have an inkling of what the play is.
Yeah, Suka has been such a big threat over here on Abyss. We need to shut him down might be a tall order, since now they have the null command activated. Now they're baiting out the Hunter's Fury with the top of the spike. Suka with 50 HP. Even now has died. As Riza is gonna get caught out of pulling out the weapon. It's 119. It's able to get the neural theft on the board, and now they have information.
Information is crucial to the success, especially on this map. 119 doing his job as well as he can, and now it's all up to Mark L to try to clutch this out again. 1v5, how doable is this? Apparently not doable at all when in front of MN Fear, and this is the exact scoreline from Haven.
Switching sides.
You're right. It has happened. All right, we're over here at the second half of our map number 2 between the Mongols versus Zipto. It has been a 7-0 start for the Mongols earlier, but they were unmoving for quite a while after Zipto manages to find their footing. But MN Fear deals first blood and trades all over the place, as now it's a 3v4.
Oh, well, as soon as you say that, more trades happening left and right, Riku. And still anybody's round.
Last player standing.
Absolutely. 1v2 though, who wins? The first was so afraid for that split second. Well, we're good. They're good.
I feel like there's a lot of jovial moments in this game, despite how intense like this map 2 has been. But again, Pixie, I think he's been a star for Zipto. He's really added that extra
Last
speed
player
and
standing.
heavy hitting on display right now.
Ooh, you see? Nope is the answer. Really nicely good job by the side of the Mongols. Khan finishing the round here. And now close to the double digits now for the Mongol squad.
One down.
Oh, I mean, what is there to say about this round? It was just good old fighting for map control on real both ends, really. And Mongol still very much poised to win this out. Zipto, they're not going to try and force anything despite having a slight allowance to do so. Mongols will keep it very safe. Only Khans has a main rifle here. Everybody else has a bulldog and weapons of that kind. Zipto, such a dangerous position here. I'm not entirely sure how they can even approach this round. It looks like they might want to crawl up towards mid with Riza, just maybe get some information going so they can like respond quicker and maybe get a few cheeky kills with that singular sheriff in hand. And you know, the classics do a little bit of damage too. I feel like we've seen rounds just be stolen away with the free gun.
Again, a free upgrade afterwards. Definitely cannot lower your guard down just because. And here we go. The break of the silence with the drone being utilized, but this does not indicate that it's going to be a B hit. Not at all. It is going towards A.
Oh man. Again, Zipto really needed that information early on. They needed that scan. They needed again that early warning. It was at a premium earlier. Now Mongols, not only do they have the spike down, they have the range advantage and the weapon advantage.
Whoa.
And MN Fear will showcase his precision here. Does he get third?
3 gone.
Yes,
Yes.
he does. And holding the fort all alone here.
Enemy remaining.
Now
Woo! Spicy shots by MN Fear with the Guardian. And
I saw him say ace.
he wants the ace. Where's the last player? Flaring on mid.
Wait, I feel like this is almost the exact same like stat. The way Haven played. Wait,
You're getting
no, it's not.
deja vu.
Yeah, because MN Fear also had like such a great performance at like the half or the first half of Haven. Again, I'm just talking over this because this round is as good as stats. Con, come on, dude.
How
but anyway,
dare...
like,
No, I'm kidding.
how
Yeah,
dare
it's-
you steal the ace? Actually, no. How dare MN Fear steal the ace? You know, he was only 4 away.
True, true.
But yeah, like as I was saying, MN Fear had such a great start to Haven. I think he started 6-0 and then had ult early on. That is us, gang. That is not only the caster desk, but also the audience. For a bunch of attack the bear. Rico attacked the bear in size, very small. Anyway, going back to the game, MN Fear,
you.
I think he's at 22. Just, lighting the mood up because Zipto in a pit that they're trying to climb out of, honestly.
Yep. It's a lion's pit, it's a lion's den. As soon as the Mongols is able to show their stuff over here onto Abyss, it feels like it has been quite the difficult challenge for Zipto. And now they're trying to, bide their time, wait for our reaction, try to bait it out. It is their buy round. They don't have ults in their back pocket, though. This will make this very difficult to do. And off the timing at that 119 removes Fixie.
Certainly not the start that they were hoping for, as MN Fear will have
Planted.
yet another teammate fall, Riku. Spike is gonna go down though, so that's a bonus for the Mongols.
Oh, off angle for Khan with the drone now. Not distracted at all, unfazed. We'll back away, respect that. And Suka and the rest are gonna climb through, entering the site. There's a little bit of a pixel there. The timing, though, not gonna be in his favor. Artist Fury activated just for stall. And now it's 1 HP already for Suka.
Enemy remaining.
And now he's gonna go down, or Riza rather. The tap on the spike, the pre-fire and the smoke, and the Mongols is one off to match point.
Like I said,
Okay,
if the Mongols
we know
win
the
this
drill.
map, it's really not a
Stick to your roles
surprise.
and we'll
If Zipto had a plan in mind on how to approach this, and then Mongols are just so quick to adapt and just stuff it right out the window. At the same time, I really don't like that jump there. I think we've seen so many rounds get lost just because of that angle. I think it's more defender-sided than anything else, because as a retaker, you really do want to clear that corner no matter what the plant is. Because for the most part, there is going to be a smoke. There is going to be a bit of utility just to block you off. At the same time, again, Zipto, Eco, what's new?
It's a little rough. Mongols already pushing main. Oh, the pre-fire already dashing towards the cloud burst. Every single corner trying to get cleared out. The scan beautifully done. And right in the hands of Khan, his death has been done. And Suka falls as well in the hands of Nexi. The plan's gonna go down. Here comes the dash. Leaves this post as there's one on tower. And Suka did a phenomenal job using a distraction purpose. Sky's Blue, though, has the molly still. A lot of utility still being thrown out. Markel has infiltrated the space, but it's not going to work out. And there we go. The Mongols is match point.
I'm not entirely sure if there's too much to dissect in this map. I feel like it just comes down to the Mongols having way more reps on Abyss. Fracture, I think that's a true toss-up. I think the way that the teams have been playing that map as of late is just very freestyle. I mean, we've seen teams run the Tejo. I think like on the global stage, some teams still try to go for that double ini. Some have gone, I think, double controller, triple controller, even on Fracture. Again, there's just no way of like quantifying who might win on Fracture. Even if I check the stats, I don't think the teams have played it all that much too.
I love that you brought that out because it felt like Fracture has been absent for far too long. And then I had to do a little bit of a googly search, and I think the last time was before August 29, 2023. And now it's 2025. It's quite the long absence for Fracture, but looking at the present makes you wonder what Zipto has in mind to try to force overtime. Although it's definitely not looking towards that direction. It's looking like towards map number 3 right now. Operator though in the hands of Zipto. Perhaps this Maybe key.
Another like piece of information that I don't know how valuable it is, but Sky's Blue never frags out on this map, but he's always gonna have 1,000,000 assists. Like the last time I believe we saw him play on Abyss, he had like 4 kills and like 18 assists or 16 assists. It was pretty crazy. But regardless of that stat, even individually, the Mongols have been winning their duels out. And Mark L, unfortunately, was the first to fall for this match. Or rather, for this round.
For one stack that has been working out for Zip, though, it's not going to be there anymore. Let's see, though. A lot of the damaged members on the side of the Mongols still doesn't change the fact that Emin Fear already stealing a lot of chaos
Spike
in the
planted.
flank. That's 2v4. What will Zipto do?
You want to fight it? One enemy
I've
remaining.
been wondering that for the last 15 rounds or so.
Attackers
17
win.
rounds, in fact. And the Mongols convincingly both these teams. And Zipto, they will be running the Teho as well, but they want to have a bit more like confirm and oppressive utility with the with breach flashes and just breach in general.
Really looking forward to see how that pushes through. But of course, this is map number 3. Of course, you've got Zipto. You know, when we look at the scoreboard, Zipto doesn't have a point just yet, but the Mongols already had a beautiful 3-map series against Kimmy Kittens. But of course, they want to be the first team that does 2-0. It's going to be a battle at Art Con. First contact over here, and that is going to be the stun. The utility raining down, and things are falling apart already on the side of Mongols. Good thing they are able to land a trade. That's a lot of damaged members on the side of Zipto.
From utility as well. So I'm a big fan of that, you know. With the Molly getting maximum value, like you mentioned, Riza is not going to be the healthiest player in the squad, and if anything, Mongols are going to have a bit more staying power here. It doesn't really matter though. Zipto have a pretty hefty man advantage in that situation specifically. Zipto this time around want to start strong.
Yeah, that stack on Arcade is absolutely deadly with the breach and all the Teho utilities. It's just really hard to retreat from that, to back away from that. It feels like it's a done deal already once you pretty much interact with him.
Pretty much. I mean, I think Mongols had a cool idea in using all that like throwables to just like make an entire lane of the map a hazard zone. It looks like it's gonna be the same case. Stealth Throne is gonna land the scan, but just not having armor Rico's not gonna do them any good.
Quite the scrappy start, but expected from the side of Zipto. That is now on the anti-eco, now all up to 119. I mean, very hard with a high-low situated into halls. One peek and you're out. Pretty much. That's a quick 2-0 here for Zipto Esports. Good start.
Well, there's not much to talk about yet. But they now have put Sky is Blue on Teho and not Emin Fear. Emin Fear had a donut half. As Komodo would like to remind everybody here. That was like, what map was that? It was Bind against KK. Granted, he had an amazing second half, but it seems that they have relegated the responsibility to Sky is Blue. Again, there's gonna be a lot of like awkward moments with this agent just because he's new. You know, not everybody knows how to play him yet. I do think that Stealth Drone is very powerful. It's a scan and a suppress all in one. Not a lot of agents can do that. If anything, it's an even better version of the 0 point.
That's true. It's controlled. You can move it. You don't need lineups for it. And and as long as you get that line of sight, you're able to get that suppress and scan down. But it is gonna be salvo being initiated. Fixie and have tower control over here, just leading the charge from the Teo utilities as Riza playing quite at a cheeky angle underneath or inside the smoke here as 119 tries to pre-fire some shots but unable to find anyone. Maybe the tripwire does, but unable to follow up because they have no angle at all to take advantage of this. Spike already planted. Suka a little bit trapped here, but with a flash can cross quite easily. Here comes the heal as well. Readying the flash as soon as they push. Let's see what happens.
Oh, that's an almost perfect crossfire for Zipto here. I mean, this is also like born of the fact that Mongols just didn't have any early map control.
And not at all. 2 HP for Suka. Still has a flash to contribute before he falls, possibly. Maybe even a kill at that, but no. 2 damage to do anything much. 2v2 situation here. Caught off of the utility with a grenade at hand. And there we go. Just according to the Valorant script, it is going to be Mongols taking the bonus.
Well, really expensive as that.
True.
I definitely thought Zipto had that in the bag. I failed to consider that the weapons were considerably weaker here. The Outlaw did get a little bit of value from Mark L side. I think the only real misplay there was to throw the nade a little bit early on that side of that Heaven player. Because if he fought that, then it would have been a clear, like, maybe 2v2 that had a lot of angles to account for. Mongols, though, they're not really allotted much to upgrade for just because of how many players fell in that previous round. Zipto surprisingly still sticking with the Outlaw Rico.
Mark L side too. The usual solo player. 4-1 Fixie though jumping right in with the satchel. Both duelists are just gonna trade. Both Teos already gone.
Man, I'm trying to like figure out what other value does Teho bring if his utility just gets burnt out in like the 10 seconds. Sure, that's a lot of free space, but you know, when the round does eventually play out, his cooldown takes so long too, so there's just gonna be like a re-hit or maybe like a retake on that specific area of the map. And it does look like Mongols and Zip to have moved around each other completely, and again, they just ended up being on the same side as this round began.
It's almost a mirror. It's almost the exact mirror of what Fracture looks like right now with the way that they're moving. But some of them are already making movements to go to B, with only Khan sticking around inside the smoke again. Quite the sneaky player indeed. Unable to find a pick. Maybe just a couple of tags here and there. Pre-firing as well. Fixie already yellow health. This is quite low already as they're fully stacked underneath. Towards default on the plant. A lot going on. They're pretty much surrounded. Unable to escape. They do have a couple of utility though. Asuka gets the kill onto Evan Fear. Now Khan slowly pushing in, flaring low onto Sands, finds the pick onto 119. They do have the molly, they do have the orbital strike, still pushing in. It's gonna buy a lot of time towards the side with the Kolak with the box. It's even already half. They have a lot of time to spare with a half on the spike already.
I'm genuinely concerned that we might actually go back into another post-plan meta with Teho. Like, I'm looking at how these rounds are playing out and there is not a lot of fighting for a majority of the round. Sure, we had that early encounter towards A main, but for the most part, everybody just wanted to keep their utility belts intact. Just kind of waited for that round to play out. Now, understandably so, that Fracture is a map where you have to fight for a lot of control. It can be a little risky, so that's not like a prospect that the Mongols have been willing to play around with too much. If the most obvious tell isn't them just kind of backing off at the first sign of a fight, it's just Teho really in CT, and that's exactly why they don't want to contest too much of the map, because it's just a giveaway for Zipto.
Yeah, and that's one layer too. That's the breach alongside the Teho being utilized. Armageddon actually at the ready already. There is the showstopper activated onto Halls. They haven't found the missing player. Caught off utility, still alive. So Markel's the one that finishes the job onto Khan. And now they're slowly taking over A as Nexi forced to back away. There's just a lot of utility. You talked about this, Raph. It's the utility gameplay. It's a turn-based combat. Here comes the drone to scan things through. Able to spot out one, hugging the wall. to conceal himself. Vixie still playing off the angle of his teammates. So smartly playing this round so well. Now, it's only 119 left. And it's just so hard to clutch this one out. It is XIP though, full control here.
Again, there's just so much to traverse. There's like a nano swarm. There's, you know, everything that Teho has. Plus, you add the nades and then the breach and then the molly. Sure.
It's like the floor is lava, except everything.
Try to shoot you too.
Every floor. Yeah, that too. You have to worry about that. Oh dear.
So now, again, Mongols have the chance to maybe restabilize here and play a little bit more aggressive with these sheriffs. Do you think in this specific matchup, the sheriffs can be lethal if the utility lands a lot of chip, but if they just end up being passive and if it ends up like the last round where nothing really happens for like a solid 30 seconds, then obviously the stronger weapons are going to win in an outright fight. At the same time, it is really like a war of attrition at the moment, Rico. It's who has more utility to burn and throw and zone out the other guy.
That is indeed the question. It's a bit of a difference of, you know, Cypher versus Killjoy. Like, Killjoy, well, I would say a bit more flexibility, but, you know, I was saying, you know, okay, Mark L on the Killjoy doesn't have to worry about a Sova in the composition ruining the what do you call this, the lockdown. But guess what? Teo can possibly just destroy that from like quite far away. We've seen that in a couple of maps before. So yeah.
Oh yeah. I actually feel like Killjoy does bring value even if there's a Teho, because now Teho has to make a choice if there's a lockdown. Do I use my rockets to break the lockdown, or do I use it to get early space and just risk the lockdown? So I don't think Killjoy is still inherently like, you know, weak against this agent specifically. At the same time, we're seeing the utility spam come through.
Yep, the flash as well. And the Cypher Cage for safety. Sky is blue. We have the ready. Here comes the rockets already coming right in. Everybody's pretty much close onto the site already with Mark L having a lot of value off of the Outlaw. Plant still not there just yet. They are so not safe to do that at the moment. I'm gonna do a bit of a deep plant here as Nexi finds a frag. In a 3v1 situation, 2 members are half HP and beyond. A couple of body shots out to do the job. There's the fault line and stun. 2 bullets left into the barrel. That Suka finishes the round off, and now Sipto with a 2-round lead.
Oh.
Oh.
Mr. Ryan Kuzar actually designed Teho. Cool guy. At the same time, this man has a lot of point-and-click abilities. Just to kind of go back on what you said. Like, there's just so much, you know. The salvo is there, the special delivery is there. Armageddon, when it's available, just pushes you out of sight completely. This agent can be incredibly overwhelming. At the same time, but maybe this is also because the teams haven't really figured out how to leverage with him, right? It just feels like he's not in the game. Like, okay, his utility is done. Now what? I guess he just fights. And I think that's where he kind of loses out in comparison to other initiator agents where they can really stagger their utility. Like how Sova can have the recon dart first and then throw the drone, the owl drone out just to buy a little bit of time. Same goes with Sky, the flashes, and the Trailblazer occupy a lot of like seconds for either attacking or defending team. I just don't think Teho has that yet. I think Teho is like, boom, let's do it now. If we don't, my utility kind of sucks.
Will be wasted. Yeah, that's true. You know what? I'm trying to remember the last time an agent is played like this almost immediately as soon as the season started. Maybe Sky's release, where everybody, you know, Sky was really strong, so a lot of players really wanted to play it in competitively. But when we look back at the other agents that released, it feels like a lot of players and teams took their time before they picked up deadlock. Sometimes not even. What is this? What is happening? No way, that just happened. Oh no. The suppress. Quite unfortunate here. Here comes the Seekers coming right in. M and Fear knows there's 2 players right nearby. Quite close. The flash to distract as the rest of the members go right in on towards the site as a form of distraction. Here comes Rolling Thunder as well. Things are falling apart. 3v2 now. A bit of a lineup here for the post plant. There's Nexi already scouting through. There's 2 players onto Heaven inside tower. Still a lot to clear. Lots of utilities to spare. And do they do this thing? Oh, they do! The fault line timing was quite there, but not exactly. And now with no time, Zipto continues their streak on the attacking side.
Feels like Mongols are just giving up too much map control here. You don't necessarily see them like contest deep into arcade. The one time they tried to take control of sand early for the orb, they got demolished by a 5-man swing. So now they're playing super far back. And sure, the Cypher utility does buy them a little bit of time and afford them a really minor amount of space. But Zipto are just not letting up. They're walking forward. But they are getting stunned up though. Actually, no, it's Sky's Blue again. Wait, turn the corner. It's gone.
There we go, going right in. Back onto A. Stealth drone. I don't think anyone's nearby. It's gonna get spotted. Not at all. Meanwhile, Suka breaks the silence here. Finds Khan.
Oh boy, A main has been an interesting spot for both these teams. It's where most of the utility is getting flooded through. Like I said, there's just so many pools of things that you have to avoid. Riz is gonna have a quick 2 here. 119 on this eco. Sure, he's great. How possible is this though? I don't think it's like doable by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, there's just so much post plan to worry about. Honestly, fault line still available. Is wait 19? I thought there was potential. But that's still against 4 players and there's not a lot of time in the world. Wow, Zipto full control, 6-2 now. Big lead here on the first half.
There's so many glowing circles on the ground. It's like an MMO right now.
It's like a raid boss fight where you have to avoid the red carpets and the AoE circles. That's, yeah, played an MMO.
I like how it took you a bit to figure out. Yes, that's exactly what I was alluding to.
That's so true. Thank you.
Look at this. There's so many things to avoid. And
true.
While I am appreciative of like utility first in a tactical shooter, because it is tactical first, right?
Yep.
Sometimes it is unfun to look at.
Looks a bit fun. Mark Elbow. They line up. Look at that. They're just demolishing Mark L. They're all just gone in the hands of the lurker. He really delivers the pain when it happens.
Oh wow, Zipto are out for revenge. Like, they didn't appreciate how the Mongols were for Abyss. They're looking to return the favor on Fracture. And if this continues, then Mongols will have a 0% win rate with Teho. If my numbers are not mistaken.
So this
and
time...
119 again.
Yeah, so this time, no matter what happens, there's going to be a win on the board for Teo.
His win rate is absolutely abysmal right now, though.
No, both teams are using it, so... Well, it's going to be a win either way.
Yeah. I want to go back on your topic, like... I remember when Astra came out, people loved playing Astra because Astra was strong right off the bat.
True.
Chamber was strong right off the bat. It really did stop after Chamber. Like, I think the design has been reevaluated a lot more. That, okay, maybe we don't want a singular agent reshaping the meta here.
Yeah, it's true, right? Because Raze and Jet have been the queens of duelists for so long, even though they added, what, Neon, ISO, it took a while for them to be in the meta. I think it took them like a big buff with the slides, the recoil, and the ISO buffs as well for them to be seen a lot.
A hot take. I honestly thought ISO was good before the buffs. The buffs made him a bit more viable. It's because undercut is so strong.
True.
Like,
True.
In pistol, you get hit by an undercut. You just kind of lose. At the same time, what slot does he take? Does he take an innie slot? Because he's not a traditional duelist where he'll take like space immediately. He has to like scale with the team and hope his utility lands first. The shield
True.
did help. With his E buff. Other than that, I still think he's viable. I think you're correct on that statement. It did really take some time for the rest of the duelists to get their shine. I don't think Yoru is still... or his potential hasn't been reached just yet. There's
Not
a
yet.
lot of like teams that run him. I think it's still very viable, but there's a lot of like practice required.
True. It feels like
him.
it's not the same level as when Neon was buffed, where it feels like every single map felt quite viable for the agent. But, you know, going back over here, Teho is such an interesting addition. I'm seeing Armageddon still in the hands of Riza. Didn't feel like a necessary move just yet. They have been getting the sites through sheer utility, sheer power, through the initiators alongside the breach. So very understandable. Now they're on site up against an ecoed Mongols. It might not stop them. Here comes Arcade, and the orbital strike is gonna fall. But Zipto is gonna rain down the pain, rain down the hurt. Fixie finding
Enemy remaining.
the fourth member. It's only 119 left.
Oh, that's really not a statement that you want to hear as a Mongols player.
Spike planted.
The last time that 119 was last alive this often was their match against, I believe it was Z11, but it does look like this clutch is possible though.
Oh, anticipating probably a flank. Very patient, not budging, not revealing. Fixie still pretty much fixed.
Last player standing.
Oh,
It's still a possibility. Flaying towards the box. No ace for you, and no clutch as well. Zipto continues their streak here on Fracture.
Drink some water, reload your mags, and let's get back
like I
out
said,
there.
the last time we saw 119 alive as the last person as the potential clutcher was against Z11, at least in this volume.
Spike
It was on Lotus. It
One
did
enemy remaining.
help the team mount a comeback. But could you imagine if just anybody, literally anybody on the Mongol side, they just found one? That would have been a 119 1v4. But hey, we can't really like deduce that just yet. Mongols are mighty struggling right now.
Oh yeah, having to stop the onslaught of the rain of utility is just so hard to challenge on defense. You aren't able to dictate the pace of the game. Retakes are torture, having to reach the spike as well with just so many left over. Again, these round wins are so, I wouldn't say easy, they're so calculated that they have surplus of utilities and ultimates as well. Armageddon has been there for so long. Meanwhile, I'm in fear. First Blood activated, Showstopper in as well onto Hall. Unable to find the player sitting inside the smoke at all as Riza decides to peek. And now things are a bit messy and Zipto goes to B.
That's a lot of utility that they still have to run through. The Cypher is going to be a problem that eventually will have to be dealt with, and flaring is going to be the solution to this problem, Rico. But is this 2v3 possible? Sky's Blue just one away from that Armageddon.
Super though as well, but it doesn't even matter as the Mongols now will take it 3-8, able to break at least the streak of Zipto.
I have to say that this draft is really good. I think this draft has been absolutely fantastic for both
Last round
these
before the
teams.
switch.
Obviously for Zipto better because they're winning so far. But for them to just limit the number of good maps to one each.
This goes here.
Fracture should have been a toss-up. Fracture should have been the more competitive map. But instead it's Zipto. Really zipping away with the lead now. Mongols are yet another rare moment of weakness. Normally we don't see them in this like situation exactly, but Perhaps it's a byproduct of that limited playbook. Perhaps they still need more reps on the Tejo. Perhaps it's a stylistic conflict with the agent itself.
Yeah.
No matter, regardless of the reason, they are down in a lot of rounds.
Yeah, absolutely, Fixie. Also, just unstoppable with the showstopper. Coming right through. Almost self-damage there with 23 with the shorty. Damage doesn't matter. And now they get the plant down. Em and Fear being very aggressive with the guiding light. Con able to spot out the planter alongside Riza as well. Markel having an angle with the operator, just trying to run away and reposition with the lockdown and make sure to protect, hold this site through. And now he's the only one left here. And now it's ticking. Now they're committing. Now they're seen. And the clutch from Markel does so much impact.
Switching sides.
I just realized Mongols don't really put a lot of manpower into going into under like that. And Fixie, like you said, paving the way for his team, doing a reasonable amount of damage to himself. Ultimately was worth it though. Con making this possible, but...
Alright everybody, it is a 9-3 scoreline in favor of Zipto. Now we're in the second half. Mongols has quite the hill to climb, a mountain to climb to catch back into this game. Pistol rounds have been successful for this team. We'll see how they do.
Where are the circles on the ground? Where are the carpets?
I feel like this is also... Hold that thought, though. As that's going to be a one-for-one trade. I feel like this is also what would be the best main initiator being paired with Tejo. Is it the Breach or is it the Sky?
Well, certainly, we're a bit more persuaded by the team that has 9 rounds over 3.
True.
At the same time, I feel like there is value in both. Maybe for a different map, the Sky could be a bit more successful, but I think Fracture's just a little too claustrophobic and a little predictable for the Sky to really shine.
Oh, Sky's blue. Running inside the smoke, maybe waiting for the rest to go beyond halls. Now Con and Fear already inside the site. They receive contact from Drop, but Nexi with a flank ain't gonna matter. And Zipto still continues now. The first to the double digits.
Oh. Okay, 2 seconds is honestly still out, but the beeping made me a bit cautious about it.
True.
I think we were talking about this a little bit backstage too, that this draft is honestly so good by Zipto. If they were planning on making Abyss a sacrificial map anyway, and just kind of maybe hitting a 50-50 with Fracture, then that's great. At the same time, it just came to me.
Yes.
We are a practice region, like, again, for history's sake, right? Mongolia is still very new to Valorant. This is, I believe, one of their first few teams that have really joined our region. So maybe, just maybe, they're not gonna have that much practice, but wow, Sky is blue, he is still a shark.
Really, really nice utilization of utilities, but let's see, Con has a judge at hand and quite hugging this corner right here. It might be a bit of a dangerous situation if Fixie decides to take a peek off of the entrance of the site, and there you go. It's already down. Instead, it is Zipto winning on this retake. Things really fell apart everywhere on the side of Mongols. It's just very difficult for the side of the Mongols.
Yeah, I'm trying to like research the amount of Fracture maps the Mongols have played since their introduction to not just the league, but like the game itself. And so far, officially, they've only played Fracture twice. They've won every single map. The other one was against Unicorn Cyber Danang, which is decently recent. But overall, right, like how much have they played this? Because in APAC, we played Fracture a lot when it was around. Like this was one of the maps where we actually played for the most part. Again, if my memory doesn't fail me. So if Zipto had that in mind, then that's great scouting from the support staff.
Really we're gonna get a score on the board as Zipto has yet to put. I'm in fear though. Dealt first blood onto Mark L. Firing a bunch of shots. Won't find a tag or some chip damage whatsoever. Here we go though. It is the Outlaw still doing a lot of work earlier, so maybe.
Oh boy. Mongols, sure they have an advantage now, but they have to close this out. So at least they can fight for another round. Flaring does get a con that's trying to escape, but he's sent back to his cell. And it's an even 4v4 now, Rico. Well, scratch that.
Yeah, I'm in fear, just doing a lot of work here, and there we go. Mongol still hanging on after the swap. Still quite difficult knowing that Zipto is one win away to match point, and it was a bit of a broken bye earlier too.
Fighting chance for Mongols to maybe make this map a little bit more competitive. It does look like there is a semblance of a plan here now.
Thanks.
Although, I still feel like they have to just kind of dig Zipto out. Zipto's not really taking any risk at the moment. They're playing really well with whatever utility is present on their side, and when it ends, they just kind of backpack. As we saw with Fixie on that raise, they now found themselves pretty deep towards A main, so sand is not going to be a point of worry for Zipto. Now they have to consider, do we push Arcade just to confirm where the Mongols are?
Your trail.
It's a stack over here onto A drop. With the Seekers now being played on out. They have the idea which space have been taken, which spaces have not.
Spike planted.
Spike already been planted so swiftly here. There's a lot of space being cleared. The Satchel's gonna do the job. Riza, though, is not in the best position right just yet, but the trades are coming through. And 119, and Suka with 1 HP, literally there to finish the job as the Mongols still hold on.
A lifeline, perhaps maybe just even a thread that they're hanging on is enough allowance to maybe fight back. And now Zipto destabilized. We'll have to work with a bunch of sheriffs here again. Regen armor and Mark L. I don't know. I like regen armor, but maybe not on ecos.
Watch and learn.
Not on ecos.
Thinking about it still.
Maybe it's one of the things that can't afford at this point. We'll see though. Khan I swiftly enter through Sands, but we'll get stopped by a fault line and a combo with a salvo. As Fixie has an angle here with a triple for Khan, followed by a kill from 119. Frags everywhere. It is an eco for the side of Zipto,
Spike planted.
but still, this is exactly what the Mongols need to hold on to this game. Able to identify where Mark L is, and there we go. We're climbing in closer and closer.
I'm trying to check how the groupings are for the stage and what this means for either of these teams. No, Mongols is still up 1 point over Zipto. No, wait, no, they're both at 1 apiece, I think. Zipto had that against KK. Mongols, I can't find my stats.
You got this. I believe in you.
Either way, I feel like we're at the point where teams aren't necessarily trying to feel each other out. They know how teams are gonna approach the game, but they're also not willing to like give these points away, right? Armageddon is gonna deal with Flaring either way if he didn't stand his ground. Now Rizza finds another in Sky is Blue. 3v4, but Mongols are gonna largely occupy the site. No ultimates on the side of Zipto to be immediately available. Mark L with the operator, ready to maybe fight here. But wow, MN Fear keeping the Mongols alive, and just a few more rounds left, Riku, to make this decently like close for both these teams, really.
Yeah, Nexi has the orbital strike. The attempt from MN Fear with a peek. Mark L has his spidey senses tingling, knowing that somebody must be in Arcade. The timing, though, doesn't work out too well, but Riza has been tagged multiple times already. A couple of body shots ought to do the job. Markel has no choice but to save the operator. But surprise, surprise! There's one that wants to take that out of ya. Here comes the classic at hand. And no operator save for you, Markel.
Oh man, that is gonna be quite heavy on the investments for Zipto to at least try and recover. They were ecoed for a good amount of time just so they could have a chance at that op. Now they might be clamoring for an extra weapon just so they can have these ultimates do something or at least be meaningful to combo with. If anything, Mongols might just have another freebie of a round here.
The fact that I have not used Orbital Strike for the past 3 rounds as well, including Armageddon, is a telltale sign that the Mongols have been, I wouldn't say the easiest time getting the site. They have control. Oh, doing their due diligence, but Markel tries to hold the trigger, but still the double check from the Mongols, but the grenade bouncing right off, but it's okay. It's gonna deal a bit of a damage here, Riza. Wanna open the gates here. Sky's blue as eyes on the prize. Has a good angle. Having to crouch already. But Khan, though, no, the takedown too before it goes down. Now it's a 3v1. Suka, the only one left, and now is gone. The Mongol still holding on.
Wow, they're refusing to give this map away. They're refusing to let the series slip by him, and very timely for Khan to check that corner. Otherwise, it could have been disastrous.
Timeout
Zipto
here.
have a lot to go over.
Oh yeah, for sure. They had a big lead earlier, but then on the attacking side, where the Taeho really, truly shines alongside post plant, things can get a bit dicey on the defensive side.
I didn't think it'd get this dicey though. I mean, like, they had a pretty big lead, and sometimes that's the skill that you have to like draw upon, and it's playing from, playing from a lead. A lot of teams, they get a little too excited knowing that they have a cushion, and suddenly it gets really, really dangerous once that cushion just gets like cut from under you. So maybe that's what Zipto is experiencing right now. Although I doubt it. This is a team that has a lot of experience on its side. If not as a core, then individually.
And you mentioned cushion. There's a lot of pressure on this game because Zipto is the only team that doesn't have a score on the board in Group A just yet. They went up against Nalis on the opening day of group stage. They unfortunately got 0-2'd. That's most likely why. Because Group A has so many 1-1s in the group. Possibly except for the Mongols. If they do 2-0, they would be the first team to 2-0 in the group if they do succeed here. But let's take a look at the Zipto already from the opposite side of B. But they sort of back away. They circle around under.
Well, at least they have a different idea of how they want to take this side of the map. I doubt that Zipto have any inkling of what's actually going on the opposition side. Suka is wary. Will a flash arcade, so Fixie may have a safer
Eagle-eyed.
But it's 119 drawing first blood here.
Crazy stuff. Orbital strike, even with the timing on the peak. Just smart timing, smart plays from the side of the Mongols here. Slowly whittling down away, but the off angle by flaring takes down 2 before he falls. And I'm in fear with another aggressive angle. And there we go. Mongols closing in on the scoreboard on Zipto.
Oh boy.
Eagle-eyed.
Zipto's looking for a thrill. And this is it. They've had more than enough rounds to try and close this out. The Mongols have a realistic chance at mounting this comeback, considering that the weapons on the Zipto side are not anything to write home about. They do have a lot of ultimates that could potentially come into play here, but once again, you'd rather use that in rounds where the weapons are much better to follow up with. Time is winding down for both these teams, and Zipto is far more reserved than how they're positioned. They've actually put most of their players towards the left side of the map here, and Mongols, they just don't want to give anything away. They hear the zip, but where's the toe? On their way to the wrong side, perhaps.
Might be the right side, as they already have made a decision to go to A. It's riddled with killjoy traps though, the nanoswarm and the alarm bot, even Suka with a fault line at the ready. So this could get a bit dicey. Once the alarm bot hits, that's the go signal basically for a fault line, for the dashing in. Khan actually on top of the site. And quite swift at that too. Orbital strike. Look at Khan though. Playing what? Ring around the rosy question mark. Fixie though with a kill on Nexi. Khan still alive after all the utility and ultimates being thrown at him. He's unstoppable. Has survived every single moment and second of this round. Now on yellow health bar. And Suka is not leaving drop at all. Being very patient about this. They need to know where everybody's at. It's a 3v4 situation. Zipto at the back end though. Having to operate with yellow health bars at that. It's a standstill. No one wants to budge. Jiggle peeking. They want information. They want to know where everybody's at. But no, my gosh. I can't believe it. The flank again from 119. Just really crazy.
And that was off Mark L. Getting picked off. Again, playing a really committed angle. It could have worked out if they didn't check Foreman. I think the biggest thing is that Zipto surprisingly invested all their big ults there. Sure, they have lockdown. But imagine if they had a full set of guns with all the ultimates they had, and how they could have potentially snowballed their way to the end. Hopefully they have something planned here, something being cooked, because now the odds are pretty much even, or leaning towards Mongols, just because all those heavy hitters have now been removed from play.
Yeah, the momentum is just really in their favor, but this could help them. Zipto try to close this one out, send it to match point. They got first blood. Now what would Mongols do?
You can put that on a shirt. What would Mongols do?
True.
Certainly try to leverage this 4v1 situation or 4v2 situation towards B before the reinforcements may come, but they don't have that much scouting power, so they can't really confirm how many players are holding what and holding where. They throw the salvo out. Does it make the rest of the defenders bite on the rotation call, though? Oh, interesting.
Mind games. Yeah. A lot of mind games involved. It's a stack on arcade slowly creeping into tower. I don't think they have an idea. They have any idea at all. They're looking
30
towards
seconds left.
really from under and seeing if there's anyone outside. But no, the lockdown instead is going to signal and buy them time.
It is going to be more than enough to maybe help their cause, but do they actually break it in time?
Wow, Mark L really defending the site, or sorry, the lockdown with his life. Now it's a 2v2 situation. Fixie doesn't know where the last player is. Now they know with the tail, with the salvo, with everything being thrown on out. And Zipto, there you go. They break 11 and they send it to 12.
One more point for Zipto to close this out. But if we pay attention to the economy, despite Zipto winning that round, advantage will still be on the side of Mongols. They can't honestly buy the op and try to lay back with it a little bit. Go maybe play for range. That round was honestly so messy, Rico. I wanted to say that if they could have gotten the lockdown, then it could have secured the round. But even when they did, it just didn't pan out for the Mongols here. Half armor for the most part on Zipto's side. They have Armageddon to play with. The Mongols have Neural Theft, which I don't think has been used all that often on this map. Skies Blue also has this Armageddon available. But look at this, the Mongol signature. They're just going to hold out to see if anybody wants to be greedy with some map control.
And no one, it seems, wants to dare push try their luck. Zipto wants to play a bit more safe, knowing that it is going to be a round win. If they do try to wait, maybe try to react. It's a silent stack here. Fixie first contact. Khan finds Suka though.
Go ahead.
Is this going to be another overtime banger?
For
That's
sure.
the question.
Maybe. Perhaps. Armageddon assassinates Khan. Teammate? Question mark? There it is, another Armageddon coming through, but that's going to be from Riza, the opposition. 119 again with a killer flank happening. And it's dealing a lot of confusion, a lot of damage in the retake position of Zipto, but Fixie says, I'm not confused. I am in control. I still got this. Gets 2. 119 drops from drop. Gets a bit of a low angle instead. The reposition, though, from the Cypher smoke. And Sky's Blue, the only one left, has a stealth drone, but doesn't have a safe position to use it just yet. Goes towards the side. Finds Fixie, though, with 30 HP. Is it a possibility? Here comes the stealth drone. The suppress is happening. Need to buy a lot of time. Tries to wide swing, but that's not gonna work out as Zipto ends it here in 2-1 fashion against the Mongols.